Wondered why your machine is making a mess of things? Driving you up the wall? Or maybe just a mild curiosity? Let's have a look at some other things. We've got birds nesting. Now you know what that is, it's a bird's nest on the underside. But let's look at what I'm doing here. You'll see that I'm stitching, but oh, there's the thread, it's poking up. I haven't pulled my threads behind my machine. And that is the top thread, and it's not going to go well for us, okay? It is going to result in a bird's nest. So to avoid bird's nesting, very commonly, make sure you're starting properly with your threads tucked behind you, tucked behind the foot, okay? And you can also hold the threads, that also helps. But let's have a look at what that resulted in. This. Okay, the mess that you go, can I actually even unpick this? Should I even bother? Is it going to unravel everything? It's a bit of a mess, okay? That's what a bird's nest is. It's not quite jammed, it's just a nest. So hold your threads behind the foot, tuck it under and hold your threads behind the foot to avoid that problem. Skipped stitches. Let's have a look at this one. Now this is thick fabric. You can see I've skipped some stitches there. And it also has gone really crammed at that area. I'll show you a little bit again. There's the join, see it's so thick. And there's the crammed stitches. And on the other side is the skipped stitches. So what do we do? How do we get rid of skipped stitches? Well, one, make sure you have a fresh needle in. Two, make sure it's the right needle for your fabric. But three, you can also use some hump jumpers. I don't use them, so I can't show you. I don't make bags on most of my projects, don't have this problem. But there's also a very neat little feature on your feet that you can use to level the foot. So let's have a quick look at that. So as you can see, this foot's got this little pokey in little thing. You probably always wondered why it was there. There's my hump. Okay, it's going to help me go over the hump. I'm going to make that hump really, really exaggerated by folding it up like that. And how we do this, I'm doing it on spandex. It's probably never going to do it on spandex. It's more for woven fabrics. So if it turns out okay on spandex, you know it's going well. So here I go. I'm just going to do a straight stitch. And as we approach the hump, what you'll notice is that lip of those foot, the lip of the feet, the foot, lifts up. Okay, we don't want lifted feet, lips of feet. We want to lift up the needle, poke that little button in, and you see how that foot drops level and horizontal. Okay, we can put that down now, and the button stays in, and the feet stay horizontal. So that lets us sew over the horizontal thing and the lump, and we're not going to skip any stitches. It helps us get over and helps us get under. That little knob just popped out then as we're getting off the hump. And the other thing you'll notice, I'm being very cautious here, but don't try sewing really quickly over humps particularly, or anything very, very thick. So that's a neat little thing that you can try out on your feet, the little button. And that you can see there's nothing skipped there. It actually worked, okay? Nothing skipped. If your stitch looks a little crammed and a little shortened, like this one, or the fabric bobbles up, you get a little bit of thread pulling up from the fabric, well, guess what? Chances are you had the wrong needle in. In this case, I forgot to change my universal needle to a jersey or a stretch needle. And that's why it all looked so shortened. And also you can feel it. When you're sewing, you can feel that it doesn't work so well. Get the right needle in. This is one of my biggest bugbears. When the machine sucks your fabric into the feed dogs and just like eats it. Okay, now here I've also got a jam. It's so sucked down in there, I can't maneuver it out. Even though I lifted up and down that needle a few times, you can see it's just really, really jammed in there. So I'm going to very gently try and get this out. Now sometimes this is so jammed in there you don't even know if it's going to be possible. and I'm pretty stark, be gentle. You don't want to damage things by yanking. Okay, it helps to move your needle up and down as well. This is the same problem. Okay, I just smashed into the camera. I had to cut that bit out. Okay, but let's have a look underneath and see if we can get this jam out. So it's sucked right into the feed dogs there. Give it a wiggle, move the needle up and down. If that doesn't help, okay, again, please don't pull things. Let's go in and have a look. Now that is going, it shouldn't be there. That's my top thread, the yellow one, and it really shouldn't be there. I don't know why it's gone over there, and I'm just going to cut it, okay? That should let us out. Yes, it's a beautiful fix for this, okay? It lets us rescue our machine from our fabric from the monster eating machine. And I'm also going to try and fix this. Okay, so we've got that happening. That was our jam. Simply rethread everything, top thread and bottom thread. When you rethread, you actually want to lift your presser foot up, so the lever's up, and you're going to thread properly through the top threads. You're going to do your bobbin properly as well, and then hook it up again. So rethreading will help you. In my case, this was me trying to figure something else out, and it was caused because I'd put too much pressure on my pressure foot lever dial, and that's why it had jammed. I don't think you're going to be intentionally causing that problem like I did trying to fix something else, but if it happens, you just back off what you did that you were trying to solve. How do you avoid it in the first place? I don't really have an answer for that. Some machines, and this is why I've pulled out my machine, this old, it's not old, it's a newer machine than the one I use. New machines, current machines, anything past 1980 are going to be plastic, and they have lots of problems. So if you're going to get a machine, look for a vintage machine, okay, pre-1980. And you won't have troubles with thicknesses, you won't have troubles with, eating, you won't have troubles with jamming, you just will have no troubles. The thing will sew, and it will sew in pretty much anything. So this is why I've pulled out my old machine. It's not old, it's my new machine. Very current, not very current, in the last 10 years. It cost a pretty penny, but the one that I use is a hand-me-down machine. Okay, so it's a vintage machine. That's what you'll see me using usually. All right. Hope you appreciated the fact that I got my machine out for you to show you problems. If you have stupid stitches, and that means that they don't even look like a stitch, they're just garbage, and you'll see what I mean. I wasn't expecting to have a stupid stitch, but here we go. This is supposed to be a zigzag. It really isn't. In what world is that a zigzag? It's just not. It doesn't even stretch. Zigzags on the bottom, but not on the top. Now you're going to go, hey, this is a tension problem. It's the top thread tension. It is not a tension problem. It is very, very rarely a tension problem, ever, apart from a presser foot tension. You can adjust that. Let's look. You see me pulling that, well, I hadn't put my bobbin in properly, had I? So let's really fiddle with that, get the manual out, have a read, and what I discovered was that with this machine, I have to press my finger down on the bobbin while I'm threading it. Okay, the manual told me that. Okay, we hate looking at manuals, don't we? So do keep your manual handy by your machine because it will make you read it when your time is in need. Now look, I'm just going to pull that bobbin thread now, and I should, when I lift my finger, feel tension because it's in the tension discs now. And I feel tension. So that is actually going to fix my problem. Okay, I read my manual. Different machines are different. You've got to read your manual when you run into troubles. And let's have another little look at me sewing now. Is it gonna be a zigzag? It wasn't a tension problem, was it? It's a threading problem. Just to show you how useful the manual is, I was not expecting to have my zigzag drop out. Okay, why am I having a stupid stitch like that? Thought I just fixed it, right? But no, there's something else going on. So back to the manual we go. Now in this list of troubleshooting, which will be at the back of any of your manuals, I also don't have a lot of stretch in that either. That's a problem. So here we go, manual out, and skipped stitches. Yeah, that looks about right. Let's have a look. The needle is damaged. No, it's not. It's new, and it is correct. It's the correct size. The foot is not attached correctly. I've never come across that before. Well, let's give that a go. Why would my foot be incorrectly attached? Can't even think why that would ever happen. But I've put my foot on again. Let's appease the manual. And let's have a look. What do you know? A little bit more to figure out, but it's getting there. So we can go back to the manual and do the next step. Okay, so they are ordered. You can do any one of those that is applicable to you, or do them all in order. In fact, that's what I would go. I'd go right from the top and go, yeah, that one's done, that one's not done, then I better do that one. Okay, and keep working through. Classic easy one. Happens to the best of us, not just beginners. You might not have seen that my thread just pulled out when I started. Make sure you end with that lever at the top, so complete your stitch. The lever has to be at the top and have long tails. So if you've got problems with your machine, let's go through the quick cheat sheet. Okay, it applies to just about every scenario that can happen. 1, have you got the right needle for the right project? What I mean is needle selection. You can't just use the same needle for a different fabric. Okay, I have a lot of stretch fabrics. You can have jersey, you can have a ballpoint, but if you really want to troubleshoot, get yourself a stretch needle. It works a lot better. So stretch needles if you're using stretch fabric. Universal needles and the correct size for the weight of the fabric. If it's a thick fabric, you're going to need a higher size needle. If it's a thin fabric, fine fabric, you're going to need a lower size needle. Okay, so type of needle, size of needle. The other thing is, did you change your needle to a fresh needle? The rule of thumb is every 6 hours of sewing you should be changing your needle. And others use the rule of thumb every fresh project, put a new needle in. Now I do tend to use that, but there are instances where you're doing a lot of sewing in one project, so like a circle skirt hem, you better change your needle before you get to the hemming, because that's a long sew and you want it to be fresh. Same as, when I did the trousers. I needed a fresh needle, and that's also part of the reason why things skipped in that belt. I should have put a fresh needle in. Next thing, rethread. Rethread. Foot up. It has to be foot up to rethread. The top, the bottom. Look at your dreaded manual. You might be doing something obscurely stupid wrong, or something obscurely needful for that particular machine that you've never come across. Look at your manual. Okay, rethread. Next thing you do, have you got good quality thread in your machine? Don't go buy cheap thread. You'll hate yourself. You're going to have frustration. You need to buy name brands. In my case for clothing, polyester thread, I like usually Gutermann. Some of my threads are Rasant, but they are all name brand quality threads, okay? If you buy something off Amazon and it is not a name brand thread, or you can't trust the source, then you can't trust the thread. The other thing is, if you've got old threads and you haven't stored them away from light and away from dust, they're gonna go and deteriorate on you. So that might be a problem as well. So make sure you've got good quality thread in your machine. Top and bottom, okay? Top and bobbin. What else do we need to do? We've done type of needle, type of thread, and we've done rethreading. I reckon that should be it. If you've done those 3 things and you've still got problems, you must check your manual. There's the troubleshooting list at the back. But I hope that helps you out, and I hope that gives you a solution whenever you come across problematic sewing machine moments. It does happen to us all, and it often happens to us when we're beginners, so I hope that gives you some encouragement. Otherwise, I'm just going to say, enjoy your comfy life. I hope your sewing is a comfortable experience, not a problematic one. And I'll see you next time. See ya.